Hi there, my name is Michael, and I've been collecting video games for the last several years now. It was a great hobby for a while, but then I decided to take the biggest step in my life. I joined the Navy when I turned 21 years old, and I served 5 years on board the USS Abraham Lincoln. Now as a veteran, join me as I rediscover the fun and enjoyment of this old hobby. Okay, what's up everybody? So today I'm going to be showing you guys the pride and joy of my game room, which is my NES game collection. This is a console that I have been collecting for pretty steadily for the last 8 or 9 years now. I've gone through various periods of buying up games whenever I had the chance, to taking a break getting games, but this has been a project that I've been working on for a while. It currently stands at 559 unique games for the system, so that puts me at about 2/3 of the way of having a full set. I don't have anything very rare or expensive in here. I have most of the common ones. I'm getting to the point now where the only games I really have left that I need to get are the really expensive and rare ones. So I gotta start spending a little bit more money to get ones that I need to check off the list. So let's start off up here with the few boxes that I've got. Boxes for the NES in good shape are really hard to come by. That's why I don't really have too many of them, and they're quite expensive when you do find them, so I don't really go out of my way to collect these, but I'll show you guys the few that I have. I've got Fester's Quest, Flight of the Intruder, Astyanax, Star Soldier, 3D World Runner. This game was supposed to come with free 3D glasses to play this game in crappy 80s 3D. Unfortunately, I don't have them with this box, so I guess I can't really play this game properly, but it's still really cool to have. Akari 3 The Rescue, Commando, probably my favorite NES box that I have in this whole collection. This is Contra. I got this in the VHS section at a thrift store, so I only paid 25 cents for this. So that was a pretty awesome day when I found this right here. And it's really hard to put back in because I've got my Telstar Ranger box sitting on top of these, which is probably not the best idea, but all these games have these plastic protectors around it, so they should stay in pretty good shape. These are the two black box games that I have. I have Baseball and Excite Bike. These were games that came out at the NES's launch, so I'm very happy to have at least a few of them complete in the box. Wheel of Fortune Family Edition, Spy Hunter, Base Wars, and Tetris. And that's it for boxes. So hopefully I'd like to come across more of them later on to add to the collection, but I'm not really going to go out of my way to get them, especially when I'm starting to get to the point of getting really hardcore into getting the more rare and expensive stuff. So let's go ahead and scan through these row by row and show you guys everything that I've got, and I'll talk about the more interesting and fun games that I like to play for the system. Like here I have the complete Adventure Island trilogy. 2 and 3 in particular are a little difficult to find, so I got all 3 games for that. I have the Lolo trilogy, and I have Lolo 3 with the instruction manual. What else can I talk about in this row? Anything? No? Let's move on down here. Try not to take forever. Now we're getting into the tons of baseball games that came out for the NES. There's a lot of them. Including Baseball Stars 2, which is a little hard to find. I have all of the Bases Loadeds, including the very, very hard to find Bases Loaded 4, which came out very late in the system's life, but I'm very happy to have that game, so I have a full set of the Bases Loadeds. Now let's move on down here to the next row. As you guys can tell, also, I have a lot of instructions for these games. I was very lucky to find a lot of these with the manual, which is cool because I like to be able to reference these whenever I need them. I have all 3 of the Castlevania games, 1, 2, and 3. I have Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers 1 and the very hard to find Rescue Rangers 2. I was very lucky to get that at a really good deal at a game store once, because you definitely don't run across that one every day. Here's my loose copy of Contra. All the boxed games that I just showed you guys up here, I took the cartridges and the manuals out of there, and I just put it on the shelf so that way I can have easy access to play the game whenever I want. So, my copy of Contra was sitting right there, so that way I can pull it out and play it. I have all of the Donkey Kong games, including original Donkey Kong, the very hard to find Donkey Kong Jr. Math, which that was when Nintendo tried to experiment with making educational games for the NES, and that definitely did not work out. And Donkey Kong 3, Donkey Kong Classics, and Donkey Kong Jr. So I have all of those in a set, which is nice. I have all 3 of the Double Dragon games, including the manual for number 2. I have Dragon Warrior 1, 2, and 3. I'm only missing 4, which is the rarest one out of the whole series. Eventually, I will bite the bullet and pay to get that one. Felix the Cat, which was a later release, but it's a really fun game. And going on down here. Anything really worth talking about in here? Nothing so far. Oh, this game right here, Goal 2, which is probably the rarest sports game for the system, so if you can find it for a really cheap price, definitely grab it, because it's getting really hard to find. I found that at a convention a long time ago, before the price really skyrocketed on that. And moving on to the last section before I gotta stand up and film the rest of the collection here. I have all 3 of the Akari Warriors games. I like number 3. The first 2 games for me are just too slow-paced and too monotonous. Number 3 is cool. It's a lot different than the other ones, but it's still a really fun game. This one right here is really hard to find. This is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. This is the hard-to-find Ubisoft version. They came out with another version of this game that was published by Taito, I believe. And that one's pretty hard to find too, but this one, made by Ubisoft, yeah, good luck finding that one at a decent price. And last row here. The Jungle Book, which was a very late release for the system, kind of hard to find. I found that one at a game store not that long ago and got a pretty good deal on that. Finish scanning through these before I stand up here. These guys right here, this is The Legend of Zelda. This is the gold version, which was the first one that came out, and then later on, to save money, I guess Nintendo decided to make it in a gray cartridge. So both of these are the exact same game. They play the exact same. They have the same map, the same locations for all the items and everything. So it does not really matter which version you buy. But the gray one is a little bit harder to find, but either one will give you the same experience playing the first Legend of Zelda. So moving on now to the next shelf over. Anything else really worth talking about up here? How about Mario is Missing? Which was a really crappy educational game, starring Luigi, which is kind of funny, but kind of hard to find, but not really. You can find it for a pretty decent price if you look hard enough. I have all of the Mega Mans. I have 1 through 6. 5, well really 4, 5, and 6 in particular were really hard to get. But I'm really happy that I've got a full set of these guys, because these games are just really fun, and they're starting to climb up in price also, including the craptastic artwork of the first game. Does that look like Mega Man to you? I don't think so. So, very proud of those. And I have the first Metroid, and just like Zelda, there is a variation here. We've got the first version, which is the silver label version that they call it, and one with updated artwork to coincide with Nintendo's release of Metroid 2 that came out for the Game Boy. And just like Zelda, both of these are the exact same game. They just changed up the artwork on the cover. So it does not really matter which one you get, they will both play the exact same. I love the Metroid games. It's one of my favorite series that Nintendo produces, but the first game is really hard for me to get into now because there's no map, there's no save system, so it's pretty unplayable by today's standards in my opinion. I have two Mickey Mouse educational games that are pretty rare. Mickey's Adventure in Numberland and Mickey's Safari in Letterland. If you guys aren't noticing a pattern already, a lot of these educational games are pretty hard to find because nobody bought them. So they're released in a very limited quantity. This one right here is probably the most expensive game I have for the whole system. This is called Mighty Final Fight, and this one is trending in like the $300 to $400 range right now, if I remember right. I got this one a long time ago in a lot with a bunch of other games, and I had no idea how rare and expensive it was until I actually brought it home and did some research on it. So this is one that I've had in this collection for years, like practically since I first started this. So that's pretty cool. Miracle, the Piano Teaching Tool. This was a game that was designed to work with the Miracle Piano accessory that came out for the NES that would teach you how to play piano. The piano itself is pretty hard to find. The game itself, I see this pretty often, so you can get this for a decent price if you look hard enough. I don't have the piano in my collection, unfortunately, so I can't really play that game properly. I have all three of the Ninja Gaidens, including Ninja Gaiden 3 with the instruction manual. The instruction manual for this game is pretty tough to find, so I'm pretty happy that I've got that. And now moving on down here, I have two different versions of Pac-Man. This one, which was released by Namco, and this one right here, which was released by Tengen. They are both the exact same game, just under different publishers, so just like Metroid, or like Zelda, it does not matter which one you get, they will both play the exact same. Unless you're like me and you're a collector, then you want to get both. Well, you don't have to get both, but, you know, if you gotta get them all, of course, if you're collecting this stuff. Power Blade, which is a fun game that's trending upwards in price. I wouldn't pay more than like $40 for it. It's you can find some people trying to charge like outrageous amounts for it, and it doesn't need to. Power Blade 2, or Power Punch 2, I'm sorry, Power Punch 2, which was supposed to be the sequel to Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, which never came through. This is my really crappy copy of Puss in Boots. I just had to pull it out and show you because I had no idea what it was because the end label was just wrecked on it. RC Pro-Am 2, which is pretty tough, pretty tough to find. So I'm very happy I've got that. Next row down, I have all three RoboCops. All the Sesame Street games, there's way too many of them. Next shelf down. Silver Surfer is kinda hard to find, but not really. Sky Shark is a really fun shooter, and I've got the manual for that. Soccer, black box launch game, one of the more underrated sports games for the system. Stack Up, which is one of the 2 Rob the Robot games that were released. I don't have the parts to play this properly, unfortunately, but getting this game to check it off the list was a really big accomplishment, because this is another one that can be charged a little too high in my opinion, especially if it doesn't have any of the parts to play it properly. Now we're getting into the Super Mario Brothers games and all the variations, like Mario Duck Hunt, and I've got the manual to go with that. I have the Triple Combo Pack, which was released for the NES Power Set, which gave you Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt, and World Class Track Meet, so you could play it with the Power Pad accessory. And then, of course, the standalone Super Mario Brothers, Mario 2, and Mario 3. All the Tecmo sports games. Tecmo Super Bowl is just a classic. I have all 3 of the Ninja Turtles games. There's another Ninja Turtles game called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters, which I need to find at some point. I have both Top Guns, both track and field games. I've got 2 of the Ultima games. I believe there's like 1 or 2 more. I'm not really an RPG guy, so I'm not really in a hurry to get those. The last licensed NES game to be released is Wario's Woods. It is so weird to see an NES game that has an ESRB rating on it, and this is the only NES game that has that. So, little piece of trivial knowledge there for you as I struggle to get this back on the shelf. There we go. Cool. Wheel of Fortune, there's way too many versions of these. I mean, come on, it's Wheel of Fortune, how different could all of them be? I have Wizardry 1 and Wizardry 2. I have all of the Wizards and Warriors games. Wrecking Crew, which is in my top 3 favorite black box games. It's a very fun action puzzle game. I have the WrestleMania games. I think I have all of them. The original King of the Ring, WrestleMania Challenge, and as we go up, I have WWF Steel Cage Challenge. I believe this is all of them. If not, then there's maybe only like 1 more wrestling game that came out for the NES, because there's tons of them. And getting over here to the end of the road, we have the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, which is also pretty hard to find, another late release. And I have Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, and just like the first Zelda, there is a gold version and a gray version, so it doesn't really matter which one you buy. I have Zen the Intergalactic Ninja, which is a pretty hard game to find, but it's really fun. It's a really great action game. And I have a very small collection of unlicensed NES games. I just recently got into buying these finally, because now I'm at the point where I'm getting kind of desperate to get some cheap games for the system, so now I'm resorting to getting all these unlicensed ones. So the only ones I've got, I have the Fantastic Adventures of Dizzy, Spiritual Warfare, I almost said Days of Thunder, like the movie, Rolling Thunder, based off the arcade game, Super Sprint, and Vindicators. And that's it. That's all the unlicensed games I have, and that is all of the NES games I have. If you guys have any questions, or you have any comments, or anything else that you would like to ask me, just go ahead and let me know in the comments, and I will try and reply to you guys as soon as I can. So I hope you guys enjoyed. It was really fun to kind of show you guys everything that I had. This is definitely my favorite system to collect for, because it has so many great games and so many unusual games. It's just a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun doing this over the years. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop something in the comments, and I will respond as soon as I can. So, as always, everybody, have a great day, and I will see you next time.